Hello, everyone. Just wanted to just touch about what happened with H2M. I know some people are interested to know. And the study that was done for the flooding that happened a few months back. So after the study, obviously they're not done, and they're in the middle of the study. They have gotten some information, and now we have gotten Nassau County involved as well because they found some issues with old pipes and drains that we have. Some of them are 75 to 100 years old. And it's more complex than just addressing one location of what's going on, because we have other villages and part of that town that also drain into these systems, and then down the river as you wish. There are other issues that when it passes under Middle Neck Road, that could be a possible issue as well that Nassau County is going to look into. Again, based on initial reports so far, some changes could be made. The question remains if those changes are going to make anything that is of significance. All indications, both Nassau County and H2M do agree that no matter what we do, the event that happened a few months back cannot be prevented. They have other suggestions, as I had mentioned as well, that are still on the table, and we're really considering those as well. So we're not taking anything off the table. We are discussing with H2M and Nassau County. I'm glad that Nassau County has taken a more hands-on mission on this, and I'm hoping that we can come up with something that makes sense. That said, again, based on their recommendations, even if we go and do whatever that there is possible because of the sizes and the size of the pipes and how much we can put in, a storm of that magnitude can never be remedied, and flooding will occur. So that's so far what we have. We're going to keep you abreast of further information from both Nassau County and H2M. Just wanted to also mention about this Saturday and Sunday. We have our street fair. I hope you all know about it, and everybody's going to join. I hope the weather is going to help us. It's going to be a big event, and I'm hoping that you tell your friends, and we can have a great time. That we can start. We have our new deputy clerk. She just joined us last week, right? And welcome aboard. You can, if you want to just talk about her as well. She's the one working for her. She's your right hand.
Yes, Maria has been very helpful in the past week, and there's a lot to learn, and hopefully we'll get through it together.
Okay, welcome.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
All right, so.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is the Nassau County Police Department report for the month of April 2022. You have the report in front of you.
I mean, I'll comment quickly that it looks like moving violations has increased somewhat, which is nice.
They issued 61 summons and 12 parkers.
Yeah, 61 moving violations and 12 parking tickets. Mostly our own parking enforcers issue the parking tickets. That's why the parking tickets are so few. This is from Nassau County Police. 61 moving violations, I think, is probably not terrific, considering
Significantly higher than what we had before.
it's about double what we've been getting, but many of those traffic stops involve multiple summonses. So
I just like to think that everyone drives very carefully and quickly.
yeah, right. It seems to have been there were, probably probably less than average number of accidents in the village, actually, last month, which is good to see, and only one involved, had an injury. That was on April 1st. This is an April report, so we get it about a month back. So it's actually fewer accidents than we've had in the past, so it's good to see. So a little better enforcement and fewer accidents.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, the next item on the agenda are under the old business. We have the petition from the residents regarding 505 Middle Neck Road.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Carl Abraham, 3 Baker Hill Road, right here in Great Neck. Since the last time I was here before the board, the Department of Health showed up at the Chosen, and it's public record. They have found cockroaches in the kitchen, in the lighting fixtures on the floor, and evidence of vermin such as mice or rats. They have found that getting rid of their waste is their drains are not adequate, and therefore in the past I have observed them also hosing out the kitchen into the backyard, into the tank down the alley. My last experience in court, I sat down with the prosecutor, and I know that no one can comment based upon the fact that there's litigation going on at the present time, so I'll just speak, which is okay. I sat down with the prosecutor and Chris, and I was very disappointed. I deal with liability and attorneys throughout the United States, Canada, and Europe. And I deal with people that are experts throughout the world. And I find that their response to me and what they said to me at the table privately was very disappointing. Number one, okay, Chris is not experienced and would not handle a cross-examination by the attorney for the defendant chosen. No way whatsoever. So I'm recommending that Steve Haramis be the expert for the prosecutor as well as I will. That's very important. It's an important change because when I sat down with them, they told me that the S section S, was very subjective. I says, how can it be subjective? I says, not one homeowner was able to open their windows for the last 23 years in the evening and experience fresh air coming into their bedrooms because of the noise. How subjective do you want to get? They said, well, the noise was 60 decibels. I said, why do you even take out a decimeter to even measure the noise level? Because it's not an important issue here. What is important is the quality of life of the people, and everybody signed a petition, everybody in the neighborhood. Okay, we're all annoyed. And the fact is that I find it difficult when we have a defendant completely disobedient with reference to the codes and violations set forth by this village. We have codes, we have laws. Most of us, if not all of us that live here, obey them. Okay, and whether we pass stop signs or slow down, we do obey the laws in our village. We are dealing with a contentious individual involved in running a restaurant and thinks he's above the law. I would like to, a warrant was signed by the judge. I didn't read the warrant. I wasn't privy to the warrant, so I don't know what it said. I don't know how strong the warrant is. They're supposed to show up at the next time we have a meeting before the judge. But there must be something that can be done to force them to stop the fan. 5 minutes or 10 minutes after the Department of Health left, the fan went on again. The fan is an illegal entity in their kitchen. The fan spreads whatever comes out of their kitchen into the residential area. It goes directly into the backyard, into the area where the alley is. It should be on the roof like everybody else did. Now, I have to tell you that the Bagel Hut at one time was a big annoyance. They abide by the law. They changed everything, and their exhaust system or circulation system is down to 35 decibels. The initial violation was presented to Chosen, a different owner, in 1999. They disobeyed it also. And since that time, and prior to that time, the residents throughout the area surrounding the Chosen have been, their quality of life has changed. Okay? None of us can open the windows. I have a gazebo in the back. We can't use the gazebo because of the noise. And we do hope, and I'll stop now.
Okay, so
that-
I'm going to, thank you, Carl. I'm going to ask both my counsel and also Steve Haramis to opine. I know that this has gone to the court, and it's now in their hands, and I do believe that a warrant was issued by the judge. I don't know what this warrant's going to really do. Peter?
I have heard the same information, that is, that he failed to appear and that a warrant was issued. Commonly, such a warrant would be a warrant of arrest, but I don't know. I haven't read the warrant. I don't know what it says. But if a defendant fails to appear in court voluntarily, the device by which the judge can make him appear forcibly is to issue a warrant. Sometimes those warrants are held in reserve, that you're given one more chance to show up. If you don't show up a second or a third time, then the warrant is turned over to the police, and should he have a traffic stop or anything like that, he could be arrested on the basis of the warrant. But again, I haven't read this one, so I don't know whether the warrant was issued to the corporation or whether it was issued to a person. I don't know what the warrant says.
Steve?
It's Nassau County. It's in Nassau County Criminal Court.
I don't know what he's on.
But their
No, but it's
residence,
not in our court.
their residence, I think, is in New York City.
It's what?
It's in New York City, not here. I don't know whether they live here or not.
That's not where the issue would be venued, though.
Yeah.
The court would be venued in Nassau County.
No, I said they have to be served where they reside, or a representative has to be served, a representative of the owner.
Well, it's a corporation. I think they could be served here.
Again, though, at this point, it is in the hands of the village justice, and
Not village justice.
I'm sorry, the district court justice.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay, again, I didn't see the warrant, but my recommendation to the board would be not to comment on a pending prosecution.
Okay.
No, I didn't ask you to be a comment. I started like that, okay?
So
So
I
I
think
understand, but I
we have
did
to
want to
move on.
bring you up to date, and I think it's important that everyone within the village has a non-delegable duty to obey the rules and regulations that are set forth by the village. And it's just disappointing that we all of us are experiencing a situation where an individual or a corporation doesn't think our laws are strong enough to be obeyed.
Listen, I hear you. I think we're going to just see what happens with it. I don't know if there's anything else at this time that we can do. It's really not in our hands.
And by the way, I'm sure that their lawyers are well aware that there's nothing you can do.
No, not nothing.
I mean, there's
I
nothing
mean,
further we can do at this
Yeah.
time.
As I stated, they put in a new fan which is louder than the prior fan, and the other fan was not as loud because it was muffled by the amount of dirt that was on it.
Okay.
All
All right.
right, thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Carl. Next.
Two items under the public hearing. One of them is regarding the retaining walls. I was not aware that the final draft of the amendment to the local law has been finalized. So I failed to print in the paper the notice for the public hearing. So I would request that this item be tabled till I have placed proper notice in the paper. And the second item regarding the facade of a single-family dwellings, I don't think if the amendment is still finalized. Is it?
I circulated a final draft and heard no comments back, so I believe that that's the final copy.
Okay, that also, I did not print it in the paper yet because
So
I
we
wasn't
put
aware
both
that
of them
it's-
for the next meeting, and hopefully it's going to get finalized.
Yeah, Abraham?
Yeah.
Is there any way that you can give us a copy of what you want to publish so we can read it and be prepared?
It's going to be drafted, and it should be on our website, correct?
It is on the agenda as well.
This is on the agenda, and it's
Draft is on the agenda?
the draft. Did you put the draft
The
on
draft
the
is on the agenda, as you can see.
Oh, I didn't see this afternoon.
Do you want
Yeah.
me to briefly explain the two
Yeah, you
local
can.
laws? Okay. And Abraham, this is the,
Thank you.
so that should be the final.
Okay. Is this my copy?
I'm sorry?
Is this my copy?
You can take that, yeah.
I wasn't sure about if it's.
Mayor,
finalized.
the two, I'll refer to them as draft local laws at this point. One concerns the topic of retaining walls, and one concerns the topic of residence facades. With respect to the retaining walls, this is a proposed local law to amend the village code so as to empower the superintendent of buildings to permit a retaining wall to be erected closer to a residential property line or as an accessory structure to the main building than is otherwise permitted if certain conditions are met, that being that the superintendent finds that adequate arrangements have been made by the property owner to retain soil on his or her own lot in the event of a breach in the retaining wall, and has otherwise provided for the safety of persons and structures in the vicinity. The amendment would affect residence zones AA, A, A1, B, B1, C, D, E, and the senior housing districts. Additionally, the proposed local law permits the superintendent to allow retaining walls on certain lots where they are currently prohibited, specifically on lots of less than 30,000 square feet or frontage of less than 125 linear feet, if the superintendent feels that doing so will enhance the safety of persons and property in the vicinity. Finally, although the proposed local law allows the superintendent to allow the exceptions from the code, a denial by the superintendent may be appealed to this Board of Trustees, which under the proposed law is to be assisted with the advice of a licensed engineer. The second proposed local law concerning facades is a proposed local law to amend the village code so as to remove a provision of the code that was inadvertently not previously removed when this board sought to permit the second stories of residential homes to cover the entire footprint of a first-floor roof. Currently, the code inconsistently continues to require that the front and side facades of a second story be set back at least 2 feet from the vertical plane on the first floor, which is inconsistent with the board's action, I believe it was in 2017, when it enacted a law to allow second stories of residences to match the footprint of the first floor. So those two I would anticipate would appear for public hearing at the next board meeting.
Yeah.
State your name.
My
Name
Tell us
and
who you
address.
Ed McGee, architect, 17 Ravine Road. Good evening.
Welcome back.
Nice to be here. I just wanted to ask Mr. B, I'm looking at residence B, but I know all of them are the same, a different first 3-digit and then it -61. And I'm looking at -61B, and it says, unless otherwise provided in this article, accessory buildings and structures shall be located in the rear yard. Now, I think that the mistake in here in the writing was that it was meant for garages. I don't think retaining wall should be only in the rear yard. And the code reads specifically in the rear yard, and it pertained to accessory building or structure. So I think that what the code has to be corrected in here also. I think only garages are required to be in the rear yard. Retaining wall can be in the front, retaining wall can be in the side. So I'd like you to look at that. Also, I think that the whole idea of being 3 feet distance from the rear or side yard line and 10 feet from the building stems from garages. Garages are supposed to be 10 feet away from a building so that the fire truck can cross it and go to the back to protect the house. Garages are supposed to be 3 feet away from the property line so that we can protect them from fire and they don't transmit fire, not retaining wall. So I think that this whole Part B is pertaining to accessory buildings, not to accessory structure. And I think that's where that was the impetus of this whole confusion that happened now when we submit retaining wall and all of a sudden we're told it's got to be only in the backyard or 3 feet away from the property or 10 feet away from the house. Many times we have lands that slopes and we want to terrace it and we create retaining wall that touch the house. To be 10 feet away from the house doesn't make sense. So I'd like you to review that part as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I agree.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe we can change the, we can
Yeah,
discuss.
but that, nothing changes because it hasn't been posted yet
Yeah,
anyway.
right, I
so
know.
Just do a new draft if the board.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it hasn't been posted, so we're going to just adjust it and just post it after that. Thank you for bringing it up. Peter, we good?
Bear with me just a moment if you would. That was in 575-61, correct?
It's 575-61 and then the other is also, each one, that's
Right.
pertaining to B. Each one of them will be -61.
Okay, I'll look at that. Thank you.
You're welcome, thank you.
Next item under the new business is a request for approval of a balcony for the property located at 575 Middle Neck Road.
Good evening, my name is Gad Ashuri. My voice is gone, so you have to excuse me. This application is for installation of a balcony at approximately 690 square feet in the rear of the building 575 Middle Neck Road. We submitted the plans for construction. We got all the issues resolved with the building department. Because the building is facing Middle Neck Road, we have to get your blessing before we get the permit. So I'm here to answer any questions you
Right,
have.
so this balcony is behind the building. It's not even going to show
Right.
from the front of the.
Absolutely. It's hidden in the back. There is no viewing from the street. There is no viewing from the adjacent buildings because all the other adjacent building also same property owner.
Okay, and as far as the fire department, everybody gave it.
Fire department spoke to the Nassau
We-
County Fire Marshals, they were informed that this located setbacks which.
We complied all the issues with
Right,
the
and you're
building.
getting a third means of
We
egress.
do get the additional means of egress, but that was not the main
Right,
reason that
but
we
that, I
put.
mean, that's
But that's,
significantly increases the
correct.
safety of the building. Okay. I've looked at these plans, and I personally don't see anything that is an issue.
Does it take away from parking back there?
No,
Is there
it's
a
on the
request?
second floor.
No, it's raised up. Actually, we put the columns in a way that existing parking remains more or less the same.
You said that there was another reason why,
The youngsters want to go to have some studies in the balcony when the weather is nice, the sun is out. You know, it's very difficult to have too many kids in the
Makes it
main
nicer.
sanctuary.
Mayor,
It's nice.
the board is, of course, authorized to approve this or reject it or approve it with conditions. The board may wish to
Yeah, I think
entertain.
if they meet all the requirements of the building department and the fire department, I think, and it's not going to affect any facade that anyone can see from outside, I don't have a problem with it.
Do we have any objections to not putting a roof over it or enclosing the downstairs?
Putting a
No,
roof
why would-
over, why would you want to put a roof over it?
Industry, they don't know if they're gonna want to put a roof over it.
I think the suggestion is, do you want to impose the condition on approving it, that there
Approve
not,
that it-
not be a roof and that there not
not
be
be
an
enclosed.
enclosed
In the future.
on the ground floor? and that be a condition of the permit.
I don't think that's
I
necessary.
believe by doing that, they have to apply either for floor area or for
Yeah, I don't think you need to.
other issues, but
It's just, I don't think it's not, if they want to do it, they have to come back anyway. Okay.
Okay.
Any comments, suggestions, concerns? None?
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous.
thank you.
Thank you.
The next item is a request for building permit extension for the property located at 134 Baker Hill Road.
Good evening. Thank you to the Mayor and Board of Trustees for taking the time to speak to me this evening. I'm the owner. My name is David Ng at 134 Baker Hill Road. I purchased the property, I think it will be 1 year from next month. And as you can imagine, I've been spending a significant amount of time, been trying for all of us during COVID and during supply chain issues that I've been doing extensive renovation projects on my home. And unfortunately, I was being told that as part of the rules, and been following the rules with the village, that we have to complete all the efforts upon issuing permits 1 year within completion date. And I'm asking, I guess, this Board of Trustees to consider for people such as myself and others who are pursuing significant renovation work to possibly extending that a little bit because of the supply chain issues. For example, I've had windows that I've reasonably ordered in March. They're telling me, and I just got an update just today, that it won't be ready till December 19th.
Of which year?
Which one? Pelham. And also, I mean, the second item I wanted to bring up, which I wanted to get clarification from the Board of Trustees, after speaking to Jackie from the building department, was that my initial plans were approved approximately in early February. And upon inspection, first inspection with the demolition, I was asked to make revisions with my architect, which since April I've been in progress with this building department to continue, and I still haven't got everything
Is
closed
it a
out.
complete demo or?
It is a gut demo, gut renovation.
It didn't start out, it didn't start out, if I'm correct?
It didn't start out that way because it was a mistake from my architect, and that's why they needed to correct it. So since then, I've corrected it around April. I paid additional fees, I think $1,500 for a change, which shocked me, which was a lot. And then now I'm still waiting for the final touch of the approval. I think I got some answers from Raphael just today. But what disturbed me was Jackie was telling me that even if it gets approved now, I'm still held to the January timeframe, which really would make it even impossible with supply chain issues and January, the additional scope of work and additional fees that I've paid since then.
So we're talking about January of 2022, correct?
2023.
2022.
No. You.
For 2023, yes.
No, but you got the initial
The
permit.
initial
January
permit,
22. January of 22.
early February, just at the end.
Of 2022?
2020, this year.
Yeah, so
You
why?
got it in 22, or it expired in 22?
No, I got it in 2022.
So. Yeah,
So I got it a few months
what-
ago.
so-
I'm just curious, when did
What-
you
what
order the
is-
windows?
Just in March.
So my question is, so what's your worry that you're not going to be able to
My worry
finish
is I'm not
by
gonna be able to
January
finish by-
2023?
That's right. And also because the new scope of work hasn't been approved, I was told that I had to stop work until the new plans have been approved. So,
So you're here to get an extension?
or I would ask that you allow me to start from the date of when I get the new approval for the new scope of work to start at that 1 year, or either or.
Yeah.
Which,
Right, I mean, I don't have a problem.
which Jackie said was an issue. He had to
No, I mean, you're not even within you haven't even gotten close to the deadline. I mean, based on what you're telling me, you're not going to finish on the deadline just because of the supply issue.
Supply chain issues is a big one, because windows are not going to be ready
But
until December 19th.
We are not really trying to extend it. I think we're just going to say we're going to change the date.
When he gets his final plan submitted and approved, we'll give him that date. forward.
Yeah, that's fine. That's
We'll give
okay.
you two
I don't
Is
know
that
why-
okay? Okay, because I was worried that I was told that it was still held to the original scope,
No.
et cetera.
No, it's okay. You can
From the date of your, it's from the date of
from the
your
time that
approval
you
of
get your final approval for this plan that you have, we can have a year.
Okay, yeah, because it's been adjusted. That's where I want to get clarification from this group, and also maybe for others who are also undergoing significant renovation work, just to let you guys know.
I think our board has been very,
Lenient.
Lenient, thank you. It's
it's
the first time
just
I've been here,
we
so
can't,
thank
we
you.
can't do anything about COVID and the supply chain, so.
So I appreciate that. Okay, that'll be great.
If you have anything further, you can always call me.
Thank you, Stephen.
Absolutely.
All right,
Appreciate it.
good luck.
Okay, thank you very
All
much.
right. We didn't have to vote on
No,
it.
there's no action item there.
Okay.
Next, I think, Abraham, is the request for the building permit extension at 788.
788 because of the same issue.
But,
Does anyone-
but this one isn't getting a new permit.
They are not. They are
This one's
just
a very old
asking for,
permit.
it's a very old permit and they keep, they've been delayed significantly. I'm not
Anyone
sure
here?
if the applicant is here. I do not see the applicant here.
I mean, this is the same, 7 years.
But they changed it, I don't think 7 years ago, I don't know what the story was.
They submitted some new plans not long ago. I believe they removed the second floor balcony or
Right.
something regarding that, so, and they still have an issue with getting the same,
But the original plans didn't have the second floor balcony.
That is correct, that is the case. But again, they're still having the issue with the supply chain issues. That's everybody's having it.
What are we
I-
allowed to do, council?
Well, specifically, what is the request? Their 2-year period maximum has expired.
Yes.
The code says a maximum of 2 years. I think that the board has the discretion, because of COVID, I think, to suspend that, but you may want to consider enacting an amendment to the local law.
Amendment,
No,
because of
it's
To
COVID.
the code.
Then where does that end?
That's at the
Amended
discretion
to
of the
what
board.
way?
And
To say,
to say that under unusual circumstances, the board can extend it to 3 years or 4 years.
I mean, we can do that anyway. I don't think you need to amend the local code.
Well, my recollection is that, no,
We can't?
the code
We don't
reads
have that discretion.
I thought that under,
says let's see, any project for which an expired permit has not been extended or that is otherwise not completed within the extension period or periods not to exceed 2 years from the date of issuance of the permit shall be deemed abandoned unless upon application additional time is granted by the Board of Trustees.
right,
Okay,
so I think that we can grant.
is granted by the board. Yep,
I mean,
yes,
we
you can.
have done it, unfortunately, I mean, I don't know what to say about this COVID, but we have done it
Yeah, yeah.
before for other.
And good cause for the delay would be the COVID, so yes, you can extend it.
I would like to have the people
The
see,
applicant to come.
the applicant see
Okay.
how long, I mean, we can, did they stop working? Did you give them stop work?
No, there's no stop work order issued.
They stopped working.
They
Dormant
the work
completely.
in there.
There's nothing going on there.
Nothing.
So I think we should just bring them, make sure that they are here in 2 weeks, so we can really have a discussion and see, what their
Been like that.
ETA is.
Plan to put it
Right,
forward in
are
about
they,
6 months.
are they,
My apologies, by the way, it was the superintendent of building who's limited to 2 years. He cannot
Right.
grant extensions beyond that.
right, or can't, right, that's what I remember, okay.
I will tell them to.
Yeah, I mean, they need to come and explain what the story is, okay.
Okay. Item D, special use permit for 54 Steamboat Road. The applicant has withdrawn their application.
Okay.
So there was no action on 788?
No,
Yeah, I
we
think
just
we're
have,
gonna
mayor
wait for
wants
a
the applicant to
representative
come.
to just give us give us some timeline.
The next item is item E, request for street closure for residents of Strathmore for their annual party, street party.
Hi, how are you?
Hey,
Bernard Goichberg, President of Strathmore Community. Hope everyone's having a great evening. Wanted to know, we do this annually, if we can just close off part of Strathmore to have our annual block party. Everyone in the village and community is welcome to come, as they usually do. We'll have some activities for kids and whatnot in our park. Lou and the superintendent team usually puts up some garbage cans and some cones to block off some of the traffic. So hopefully we can resume this year.
When
Thank
is
you.
it this year?
June 18th,
June 18th.
between 2 and 6 p.m.
That's, yes, next Saturday. Not this Saturday, next Saturday.
We didn't want to compete with the village function. We don't want to take everyone away from you.
You wouldn't. And actually, we start at 6, so you could have done it the same day. You could have just shipped people over.
I think that's too much party for us. Not as young as it used to be.
Horowitz couldn't compete with Baker Hill Tanner.
No.
I don't have an issue with it. It's a nice thing to do. Actually, I was going to ask the board. I was talking to a few of the neighbors, and I think it would be a nice idea, maybe steal your idea of what you're doing for Strathmore, to have a day that is dedicated for street events, and they call it block parties for different roads. If the people would like to, I think this is going to really significantly enhance the communities.
Camaraderie.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think there are many neighbors that may not know each other, and I think you guys have done a wonderful job in the past few years. I think it would be a nice day to just call one day the block day, and block day party day in Village of Great.
As long as you're not competing with each other.
You're not. Everyone's going to do it in their own block, or region, or neighborhood. So we'll think about it. You guys think about it. We'll talk about it next time. But good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hope to see you there.
We have to vote on it?
Yeah, it needs to be a
We
vote.
need a
to-
vote.
You need to
I'll
approve
move
it.
it.
Moved by the deputy mayor, seconded by trustee Kashi. All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
The next item is as well a request to improve the Strathmore Park.
I thought we were going to get some competitive bids. He's ready to go.
So we should put the thing
So
out.
that was the good news, now the bad news?
Hoping to continue the good news.
All right.
Thank you, Mayor Board. My name is Josh Edegari, resident at 34 Strathmore Road. And today we're here for a few asks, not venting, not complaining, but thinking of ways we can make Strathmore and overall Great Neck Village as a result better. Sorry, I can't control it, but if you can just, keep up with the slide change. So we want to talk about a few asks around the park and the pond, which includes the playground, the street cleaning, the fence around the pond, as well as the baseball field, and the eco park and Zach's Path. We're about 100, a quick overview, about 141 homes, over 500 residents in the neighborhood, generate a good amount of tax revenue for the village and the county. And we see that obviously in the village. The new roads across the village, new stop signs, new street lamps, all the great maintenance works in our own community. And we're hoping to see where we can continue that across our 3 community-owned plots, the park and the pond, as well as the baseball field. The first ask is a simple one. Trash around our neighborhood is oftentimes overflowing. We have visitors, which we welcome, but oftentimes trash gets left on the street. Some of the cans, as you can see in the picture, need to be updated. And we think this is, small ask, but a big impact.
What's the difference between the yellow and the blue?
Blue is existing trash cans. Yellow, I kind of just put in there where potential new ones could go. No rocket science behind it. So we think this would be something that's super easy to accomplish, but with additional trash cans, people will be more likely to trash, plastic or papers they're bringing food to feed the ducks and ponds with, and also make it easy for the sanitation folks to take the cans and dump them, as opposed to kind of having them fall apart when they go back down. On the next ask, also an easy one for the playground mulch. Our playground is a resource for nannies, for children, for family to come use for recreation, as well as tranquility throughout the week. And as a result of the high traffic, the mulch gets a little wear and tear, and it's more than just an aesthetic, we need mulch.
mulch is a good shock absorber for kids who often fall from the playgrounds. It's a good moisture absorber. And if there are existing village resources that do provide mulch to the parks, that would be something we'd love to see if we can get a little bit to refresh.
I'll just interrupt for 1 second. Maybe we can do an intermunicipal agreement with the park district. They have a source of huge amounts of mulch that they put down in the various playgrounds and parks. And I'm sure they could get it much better than we can.
So we do, I spoke to Louis, and we do have, when they take the trees down, many
Yeah.
of them they make into mulch. What? That's what they do. So I don't know though.
But no,
And
no, but no,
I don't know if
playground
those,
mulch
right, I'm
is a
just saying,
different-
that's what I'm saying. I don't know if those mulch, all the mulch that you guys
No,
wanna
no.
use, because they have the splinters.
playground mulch is very different. It has to go through a whole process. It goes through.
Sharp edges.
It goes through. It goes through magnets. They
Right.
have any possible metal that's in there, and it's very different. You can't just use regular tree mulch for that.
Okay, go ahead.
Next up is the wood fence around the pond. The pond is a main attraction for the community. I mean, this is something where we see people not only bring their families and walk over, we see people drive over, have the kids spend some
Isn't that
time.
privately owned? The pond is privately owned, I thought, no?
I believe it is. My understanding in the past, the village was able to help accommodate with a few updates to some of the pillars and posts of the fence. And for us, the ask is the same. I mean, the fence is not only just an aesthetic to the pond, it also keeps kids who are playing in the street from accidentally wandering into the pond landscape and something, God forbid, dangerous happening. So if there's any assistance with, a few extra pieces that we can use to repair this while we come up with a long-term plan, that would be greatly appreciated as well.
While you're at it, I would like for you to opine on the role, if this is considered really private as a private entity, like a house, or can it be something that could possibly be considered as a municipality? Based on my understanding, you cannot go into somebody's private home and fix the fence.
Correct.
But is it considered the same, or is it different?
Well, I'd like to understand better who owns this space, who
owns the
owns
pond?
the fence.
I'll chime in. So the Strathmore community as a whole, 141 houses, everyone has a share of that property.
Okay, I think it would be a challenge to have a village use public funds that it collects from the general taxpayers in order to improve privately owned property. That's generally prohibited by the state constitution.
So are we able to put up a gate to our community because
Well,
everyone is able to go in and out, and also people outside the community use that
That's where it
pond?
gets a little more complicated. If the property has been left open to the public, one might wonder whether a public easement has been created such that you cannot shut the public out. On the other hand, if it continues to be privately owned without any easement to the public, then you can repair your own darn fence. So, but I don't have enough facts to
No,
answer
the question
that.
is, can we prevent people from going into Strathmore? Because we're an unincorporated village, so we can't do that, and we can't put up signs.
You're not an unincorporated village. You're a homeowner association. You're not
Right, we're
an
not.
unincorporated village.
That's what I said, we're not.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So can we just put a sign? You're not allowed to step
Again,
on our pond?
I don't have enough facts to answer that. Are you talking about a roadway? Is it a public roadway, a private roadway? Is it maintained by the village or not? For how many years has the public been allowed access?
The road is the village's road. The pond is
Okay, but
privately
the
owned.
roadway then is usable by the public, but they can't.
Our point is the public can benefit from it, the whole village of Great Neck, not just the Strathmore.
But just as you can drive on a public roadway past someone's house, you can't then get out of the car and go onto that person's private property and repair their fence. It's just not permitted. The state constitution prohibits the village from using its funds to benefit a private party. There must be a public purpose, a village public purpose to the expenditure of funds.
Wasn't the public using the pond?
If the Strathmore were, for example, either it may already exist that there's an easement for use by the public, or they might give the village an easement to allow access by the public, if it were clear that the public is authorized to use this property, then the village could have a public purpose in erecting the fence and repairing the fence.
So how are we able to see if we have an easement?
Does
for
your
the
community
public?
have an attorney?
No. We don't have enough money to afford one.
Come on, I saw that tax bill, come on.
How,
Put up a sign, open to the public.
how long has it been open to the public?
Since 1940.
I'm going to guess there's an easement by the public at this point. I'd like to be in a position of confirming the facts, but once a private area is open to the public for a long enough period of time, the public then has a right to access it rather than being
The
just a
question
mere-
is there a way that we can come up with, I mean, I don't know if you can come up with funding to fund a private entity, but just, is there a way that
It may
we
not be
can
fully
help them?
private anymore.
Right, so, oh, okay, and?
If it's not fully private, if it's now public accessible property, then it may be a public purpose to expending village funds. But I don't want to answer the question in 60 seconds. There's more
Right.
facts.
So I think one of the issues that the homeowner association has is that they cannot collect the funds that they used 2 years ago. For whatever reason, we don't want to get into that. And I don't know if there's a way around.
If it's the board's goal to improve that property, then perhaps I could have a meeting with a representative of the association and see if we can figure something out.
Okay.
It's a fair takeaway. Yeah.
But that is a public park, Strathmore Park.
They're not talking about the park.
But there's always been a problem when the public wants to go. Like if I wanted to go, you can't park the car here, you shouldn't be here, you don't belong. And this
Has
is.
anybody
this
actually
has
said
gone on-
those words to you?
Oh, yes. This has gone on for years and years when they wanted to improve, when that so-called park was put in, it was for Village Park.
Which
But the
park are you
whole
talking? Are you
village.
talking about the pond, or are you talking about the
Not
park
the
all the way at
pond,
the end?
not
There's
pond,
also the
that
eco-
belongs to-
Oh, the
Strawberry.
eco park.
Eco
Yes.
Park.
We're not talking about
So
the
we
eco
have-
park yet.
Yes, but the whole problem was years ago, when the homeowners association wanted to have the village fix up their park for the children, and the village said, no, we can't do that, that belongs to you, that's the homeowners association, they said we couldn't raise enough funds, this is years and years
Yes.
ago. We can't raise enough funds, the homeowners don't want to give, so we want the village to do it, to make it nice for our children in that part of the community. But they really did resent people going, especially on a Saturday from Temple Israel, going through to use the park, and, the ducks used to belong to the house that was right there where the duck pond is, and that's private. I mean, Mayor Kreitzman lived just on Pond Road, right there. So this has been going on for years and years, but the homeowners want the village to fix it up, but they kind of resent regular people going in there.
Okay.
On
so
behalf of us, you're welcome.
Yeah,
We'll
I-
correct
I-
whatever happened.
I'm so surprised to hear this. I'm so sorry that that's your experience, and I did hear a lot. I'm sorry. I'll wait till everybody says.
No, I've been to that park dozens of times, and
Okay.
nobody's
I've
ever
never-
said
I'm
any, I
shocked.
don't live there, and nobody's ever
I live
prevented me from
3
it.
houses away from the park.
Yeah.
I walk with my husband every day. There are so many people in the park. There are so many people at the pond. I don't recognize them a lot of the time, and I do know people in our neighborhood. But I did also hear you saying used to. I don't know what used to be. I mean, I do live there since 1996. And I have never, ever, except for the time when that guy tried to hold a karate class in the park, I have never, ever seen anyone or heard anyone, not that I'm dismissing what you said, but you said your experience, I'm saying mine. I have never heard anyone tell anyone that they couldn't be in the park, that they couldn't be at the duck pond. And especially on Saturdays, people come after Temple, it's packed. I mean, that's shocking for me to hear. That is not what's existing right now.
I've never experienced that.
Yeah, that's not at all what's going on.
Could I have a,
That's another
if the
story.
board wishes a
I
brief
mean, I love
executive
seeing
session?
kids playing in the park. I would never think of saying to someone, do you
Do I
live
need a
here?
motion to
You
go to
can't
executive
play."
session?
So,
So hopefully we'll just
Yeah.
chalk it up to a bad experience and
For-
hopefully you don't have that experience anymore.
Not for advice council. But we're going for executive session?
It's probably more politic to do it that way. If we go for an executive session.
Okay, I'm gonna move, for brief adjournment for
Do
the
you want,
board.
before you do that,
We just
I
have
wanna
two-
hear, I just wanna hear
The rest of
everything
it?
and then.
Okay.
and then
Thank you.
get-
We just have two more,
I mean, you shouldn't leave until we come back, unless you wanna leave and then
No,
you can
we-
come back next time.
So the second one was the baseball field. The baseball field, when I told my kids today, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna go to this big meeting for the village and ask how we can help make our community better, and going through the list of things, and hey, number 5 is a baseball field. They're like, we have a baseball field? So I think over here, either somehow figuring out how to
private park.
trim the tree
It is a private park.
and make the fence a little bit more visible and get some use out of it.
Same problem. Yeah.
Same situation.
Same problem.
Okay. Hopefully that's a good thing.
If you say so.
Trying to be positive. Streets, on the street cleaning side, this is, I don't know where this one falls, but oftentimes after the sanitation, there's broken glass. I couldn't find anything on the village website to see how often streets get street cleaning to compare us to other neighborhoods. But I've lived in Strathmore for 2 years, and I've only seen the street cleaners there twice in total.
Are you talking about private roadways or public roadways?
No, the public.
Public
the-
roadways,
yeah.
okay, then that's just a
How
DPW
often
issue.
do they go, do you know? Okay, we'll figure that out.
So that, yeah,
That's-
appreciate.
Okay, that's on us.
And then also some minor repairs on the potholes. I think we've had a few injuries. As you can see, the potholes typically on the sides of the streets where we encourage kids to play safely have the most potholes.
Where's that clogged storm drain that you're showing?
There's
me?
one, there, I walked there.
I know about the one on Old Mill.
Old Ponds. I live at
This
51
is across
Old
the
Ponds.
pond,
It's
that
right
picture.
on the corner.
Okay,
Right across from the playground, literally. The playground's on the corner, diagonally across.
okay, no, because
in front
that's
of
a bad
Waltman's house.
situation.
Yeah.
Go
I mean,
ahead.
it's not, it doesn't seem that it's clogged.
No, but if
it
you got,
should not-
if you got a
that
big
should
rain,
be
that's clogged.
Right.
Okay.
That one's 21.
No, but I know that the one on Old Mill, if there's a big rain, that gets clogged and the water goes straight down into Strathmore Road.
Into the street, which
Yeah.
ends up
Yeah.
probably here, and that's clogged as well.
Okay.
And then
we've,
there's also
we've called Nassau County about that, I think, the building
Can you go
department.
back to the previous slide?
And the last one is, this is where we appreciate the street lamp. I think it was added relatively recently, but there are some bushes that have overgrown and taken over the street lamp.
That's a
Whose
private,
bushes are those?
it's a homeowner.
That's what we were trying to see, if it's within 10 feet, does it
No,
become
no,
the
no.
villages or is it
Those
homeowners?
trees, if you look at them, I'm pretty certain that they are the homeowners. And,
That-
someone
it's a
should ask
cedar.
the homeowners to,
Well, we'd like to
That's
ask
fair, we wanted to clarify.
We'd like to ask the regulations. So if it's a bush or a tree, is it 10 feet from the curb, or how deep does
no,
it have
the
to be?
trees that the
Village.
village plants, it can be within the first 10 feet, depending, I think, on the road.
Yeah, but we generally plant deciduous
We-
trees.
Right, we don't plant these kind of trees. I mean,
So that's the homeowner's
That's a-
tree, you
That's a
believe?
That's a homeowner's tree. That's like a cedar or,
Okay. Well, that lamp doesn't
Green
work,
giant.
so is that a village lamp or a homeowner?
that's a village lamp.
that's a village lamp. So it doesn't work? I thought you just said it was just.
Hidden and broken.
See, we tried to do a good thing and donate something to
Just
Well,
needs
we
a new-
want a lamp that works.
New LED light bulb.
You paid for it, we want you to get your money's worth.
That's how you treat us. You break our lamps.
All right.
Abraham, do you know what that lamp is?
It says 19 Old Pond.
I know. Do you know where it is? Oh, okay, that's the lamp. The hidden. No, we have to call the contractor. Okay.
Anchor.
Thank you.
Thanks.
It's not going to be happening the next week or so, but I'll contact the contractor.
Thank you.
We're running
Appreciate it.
behind because of shortage of staff training we have.
Everything is short.
We could provide the light bulb.
Supply, staff, air, hair. For some people. Okay, so you want to.
And last but not least,
Oh, you have one more. Okay, go
one
ahead.
more, and we saved the best for last. So the Eco Park, we think is a
Disaster.
great idea. The potential here is huge. When it was envisioned, I think on paper, they thought of something that's sustainable and didn't require too much maintenance. In fact, it's the opposite. The wood itself, as you can see, is deteriorating. Some areas have dangerous screws and edges exposed.
The wires
And
are broken.
the wires are broken. There have been fixes to it, but unfortunately, unless the bigger problem of the overall trees are resolved, every storm will destroy and bring this situation back up. Um, Additionally, Zach's path, as you can maybe not even see, is covered, so people who try to use more of the nature walk on the outer side of the eco walk can't use it.
And can I interrupt 1 second?
Sure.
That path was named after my son, and I would really appreciate, it's very disturbing to me, because everything I do in my life that involves my son's memory is a beautiful experience, and something that he would be proud of. And when they wanted to do this and name it for Zachy, I was so happy, but I don't bring anyone there. I'm embarrassed to go there. I'm embarrassed that his name is associated with it. It looks terrible, and it's very unfortunate, and it's not fair, it's not right, it's upsetting. I feel like if someone takes on a project and does something, then you should follow up. It looks like a garbage dump in there. It's really terrible. You've spent so much money on that. I don't understand who's responsible for it, to be honest. I've tried to find out over the years. I've spoken to people. I get promised all the time that it's gonna be cleaned, it's gonna be fixed up. And it's just, it's really, it's shameful. I'm sorry, but it's really bad. And I do a lot of stuff in my son's memory. I'd be happy to participate going forward and help and do things, but I mean, it's in really bad disrepair. It's a mess. It's just a mess. And I invite anyone who wants to come and see it. I live at 51 Old Ponds. You can come to my house. We can go for a walk there. I am sure if, God forbid, it was named after any of your children, which I hope it never has to be, you would be very disappointed.
I was there a few weeks ago. I'm aware of the situation, and we've started the process. We've actually gotten some quotes from third-party contractors to try to renovate, and it's our intention to move forward with that. So,
Thank you.
Let me ask, I mean, I never thought that this was a good idea to have these maintenance-free eco park. I mean, it's definitely not maintenance-free, and I mean, it is an eco park, but it's definitely not maintenance-free, and I don't know how we can keep it maintenance-free. I know we
Well,
can change the material
you
they
got a
use.
composite.
Right, even that, I'm not so sure how it's going to be. Now, at one point, I think people decide, should we pull the plug? Now, there are two things you can do at this. Obviously, the status quo is not acceptable. It's not acceptable to me. I don't think it's acceptable to anyone on the board. The other thing is either fix it or just strip the whole thing and just let it be
Which is what,
Yeah.
which is what it was before
what it
they
was
did this.
before.
It was just
And
like
I
a-
don't know, again, I'm just throwing it out to you guys because it affects you more than it affects anyone else. I've gone there because you have invited me to come and see. I've been there before COVID, and then we started talking about it, and Bart was able to find a third party to give us some quotes that we were going to use our park fund to fix, but then becomes an issue of what are we going to do with the trees? I mean, unless
Right.
you go ahead and cut many of these trees.
Trim them back.
Yeah, but you know, you trim them back. It's the middle of nowhere, and you know that trimming it back it takes away from it being maintenance free because
Does it
cutting
have a
these
protected status as a wetland or anything, or it's
no,
it's
I
completely?
don't believe it does. I'm not so sure. But regardless, in order to keep that place safe, you constantly have to maintain the trees because every time there's a storm, one branch falls, no matter what you have have composite, you can have pressure treated wood, you can have whatever you use, it can still break, and then we're back
But
in.
if you deal with it on a one-on-one basis, something happens, it gets fixed.
I know. So
Responsible.
the question is, not that I'm saying we're definitely going to do what you say, but just the census of what you think it should be. Should it be completely taken away, and then we can put in some kind of a walkway that is on the floor, that nothing can make it go bad? That's
I
really,
think it's-
that's maintenance free. Sorry?
To have it at ground
It's
level,
too wet.
it's going to be too wet.
No, not ground level, meaning on the floor. You can actually create a little platform that is not raised like this, like a bridge. It can actually be up about maybe a foot.
I think the fact that you guys are even thinking about it and open to it, I think is a huge first step. And to your point, like this, maybe if we can also be involved as the
So
community.
I'm asking you, just
Yeah.
I want to
Right.
know what I'm just brainstorming. I know we probably don't like brainstorming in public, but I
Right.
think it's okay. But I just want to know what you guys think. If it's better to just remove everything and have the Zach's path and
Pavers.
everything else done in a way that is really going to be maintenance free or minimum maintenance necessary, because if a tree falls on what I just explained to you, the only thing we need to do is to come and get the tree out and chop and move it out. If it falls on this again, there's no way that these big trees are not going to cause damage, no matter what you put there. So it's definitely going to need
I have
maintenance.
to look at it again and see.
Take a
what
look.
kind of
Right.
trees
The
are
park
there.
itself is valuable. I think there's a lot of money in there for it to potentially have like a little bit more of investment to make it sustainable versus ripping it out. But again, it takes time to evaluate the
Because
trees,
right now
the
I think it
materials.
has to be, the majority of it has to be ripped up and replaced. Because,
Every surface, every handrail has to be
right.
replaced.
Everything that
Every
is-
walking surface, the railing, the wires, everything has to be replaced.
It's about what you said before when you said take each as it comes, and unfortunately that was never done. I don't think because everybody thought it was self-sustainable, it's just been many, many years that it's been building up damage. And I have seen guys come over the summer sometimes and fix stuff, and they fix a little bit, and then they leave, and I'm like, there's so much more that could be done, but they're gone and it's over. So I don't know how.
No, the condition of the wood, the handrails, the walking surfaces, even the gravel path, everything is just in a dilapidated condition
Yeah,
right
it
now.
is. It
So
is, yeah.
we could possibly keep the understructure, the
Foundation is
pressure-treated,
good.
framework underneath. So replacing the flooring and the handrails and the posts.
Yeah, but again, I don't think that's going to be maintenance free.
Is Trex in the budget?
That's what we're talking about, composite.
Trex is a composite.
Yes.
To your point, Mayor, I agree with you. I think that there's only one or two options. You have to have a big maintenance budget and expect to
Right.
do a lot of maintenance on it and a lot of repairs, or perhaps you really got to pare back a lot of the trees, like rip half of the trees out so it's a little more bare.
You know, then that path is not going to be. It's
No,
it's not the path anymore.
Right.
I mean, when I go
Otherwise,
there,
you
and
gotta have a big maintenance
the couple of times that I went, I actually enjoyed having all these trees. It's beautiful.
Right.
I mean, it's as if you're going to a different area, being in Great Neck. But then you start cutting all those trees back. What do you have left? Just a pathway. All right. Anyway, we can discuss it. It's just food for thought. Yes.
A couple of years ago, someone from Allenwood contacted us about the invasive species, some sort of vine, I don't remember the name of it, but that's there, and it's one that invades, so you might wanna look at that as well.
What, I'm sorry. Is it
Invasive species.
A
vine?
vine.
Ah, I thought it was like some kind of a animal.
Red
Okay.
something.
What's the problem with
And
that?
then the other thing is, which I was upset with from the very beginning, that, it was never really ADA compliant. They put in a lovely ramp, but to get to the ramp, you have to cross a gravel path from there to probably there. And trying to wheel my husband in a wheelchair or children is useless.
Part of what we discussed with the contractor was putting in pavers.
Yeah.
Maybe even like an Aquaterra type paver, which is permeable. And
Something to
yeah.
be done, because it's not usable for anyone on wheels.
I agree with that, because my son was in a wheelchair, and I did not understand. I did ask them about that when this was first being done, and,
I think originally, 15 years ago, whenever this was conceived, they were thinking to preserve the natural look and beauty, but there is new technology with the pavers, which actually allow the water to permeate without, and the grass could actually grow through the pavers. So
and we really just need a path. I mean, for the wheelchair, we just need a path. It's a very wide entrance. It's like the size of a driveway. We don't need the whole thing.
Right.
It would just,
I think at this time we just need to figure out which direction we're going to go, and it's a tough decision. I think it's a nice, it's what they tried to do was a nice thing to do, but it turned out.
Yeah,
not
I'm
to
gonna,
be.
I do, are we done with, is this?
Yeah, I just,
Question on that, is there any way for us to be involved with those discussions?
Sure.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah.
then the other question we have, and I guess we can close with this, is a lot of stop signs have been put up in Strathmore. We don't know why, so can
Now
someone
you wanna
explain? I'm not complaining, I'm asking the question. Who asked for them
Did
and
we
why
put
were
them-
they put up? Like
Really?
every
Isn't that
other
the one
block.
that they
Not stop
asked?
signs,
Yeah.
not stop signs, I'm sorry, no parking signs.
Oh.
I apologize, no parking signs.
Uh,
I wanted to see if you're paying attention or not.
Most of the time when the no parking signs are up, it's because of
They were
emergency
up.
vehicle access. If you, they're very narrow roads. So number one, you have situations where you have parking across from people's driveways and they can't get out of their driveway. And secondly, you have a situation where if you have parking on the street, emergency vehicles can't get through. So that's generally the reason for the no parking signs. Louis is not here, but he can probably.
Yeah, and I think most of them, if the no parking signs just come up without us knowing, it was probably there, and somehow, when they were doing cleaning the road, they knocked it down.
Is it usually on one side of the road and not the other, like usually on
It
the right
depends,
side and
right?
not the left?
Well, depends on. I think it depends on the houses and everything else. But usually, again, he cannot just go ahead and put a no standing or no
No
parking without the board approving it. So if he's putting it, it was probably there,
And
it's
requested.
just replacing. It's being replaced. Well, I mean, he can't do it without.
No.
If somebody requested, it still
No,
has
no.
to come to us if it's new.
So if we wanted to look into this a little further, who do we contact?
Us.
You? Okay.
I mean, we
Put a- put
can
a-
ask
Put a
Louis.
formal request, we'll come
Yeah.
here at a time when.
Just say where it was that you see it, and then we can ask Louis where he put it.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Sorry, can I say one more thing on the no parking? I sometimes have guests. I have like, let's say 15 cars coming to my house, and I called the village to ask for an exception, and they said, how many cars? I said, 15 cars. They said, no way, we can't do anything. What am I supposed to tell my guests to do in that situation?
It's up to 10? The policy's up to 10? We can change that policy.
They could park farther away. No, I mean,
Listen, yeah, it's not a big deal.
it's a small, have you seen the?
I've seen, the roads are too narrow.
And then they park across from people's driveways and the people can't back out of their
Back out.
driveways.
So we can say no, right. Okay, so let's talk about, you want to call in the, you
Yeah,
called it?
Motion for executive session has been made. Is there a second?
Moved. Second.
All in favor?
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Hi.
I think I was notified of my
Maybe you're selling to have a doc.
Maybe. I can review the bylaws.
Let's just say those areas are, we may have to, yeah, we may have to come up.
It's a curveball, huh?
All right, booting of car. Oh, no, we still have a couple more. We've got election inspectors. Right? This would 788. Okay. Yes. Once the return. I move. Right.
I had no idea about that Zach's pad.
Enjoy, you want it?
Mayor? Ellie, I think we're reconvening.
Steve?
No?
All right. Make a motion to get back on to the meeting?
Yes, sir. I understand that you may want to go back to one item on the agenda. First, is there a motion to end the executive session and come back into open
So
session?
moved.
Moved, seconded. All in favor say aye. Unanimous. Thank you. Now back in open session. I understand that the applicant on item C for Charlie, that is request of a building permit extension at 788 Middle Neck Road, is now present. Is that correct, Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Okay. Do you wish to entertain that item now?
Yes, please.
Okay.
No, this is.
Ishak Chaimpour on behalf of the Ganizer Center. And that's my wife, Tama Chaimpour.
Hi. Okay, so I think the question was the reason for the delay and what is the expected time that you believe the project is going to be completed? And why is it not being completed?
Why is it not being worked on?
Correct. I just want to, I'm so sorry. There should be a correction on the address. The address is 778, not 788. So that's that correction. Okay. The reason for the delay is I'm sure everybody knows, is because of the COVID. COVID had made a tremendous prevention for us to continue on this project. And even after the COVID was finished, this is already 2 years after the COVID, many of the contractors, they left in the middle. To bring them back is a whole ordeal now. Not only that, they don't want to work on the terms that they had before the COVID. They have a new terms. Plus, material is a double the price. And I'm not sure if the board knows that every material, the studs are double the price. The wood is double the price. I mean, we don't use so much wood, but that's the fact. And we are really struggling to get this project done as soon as possible. Thank God, right now we have a certain budget, and we are hoping that within 6-7 months we will be able to finish it completely.
Is there any work being done on it currently, or they have stopped working completely?
There is a work being done in the last month and a half. There was in order to put on the sewerage and in order to put on the water line, the two water lines, one for the sprinkle water, and these are works that the company doing it took a long time to do it, and plus there was a pavement on Middle Neck Road that also had, I mean actually that helped us because they had to do it before the time. So again, when you make a contract with a contractor, they used to do things in 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Now it's a matter of 2 months, 3 months, doing the same job. So being that these two things, they had to dig everything in the front, so we weren't able to work inside. But now that it's finished, the only thing is left is the gas line. I mean, we have electric, we have water, we have storage, we just need the gas line, and that's then everything is going to be done inside. We are able
So
to
the
work.
gas line, you have it come to curb, or you don't have it come to the
It
curb?
is. It came to the curb.
It is already to the curb. So you just
It's
need
on the
to-
sidewalk.
It's on the sidewalk. So you
Correct.
just need to connect it to the
Just to
building.
connect it to the building. Correct.
And what is left to do on the outside or on the inside?
On the outside, we have another issue with the outside with the facade. We cannot find the material for the facade, and the architect is working to change the facade. I mean, partial of it, there's a part of it to change it and come to in front of the board of the architectural review board to make a different facade for this building, because we cannot find the material for it. There's no doesn't exist anymore such a material.
I mean, I've heard that many times.
Do you have the financing in place to complete the job?
We have most of the financing, yes. We had issue with that also, but thank God now we are over it.
So we have the issue with the facade is the material. So you are working on getting a new facade plan to show to the board.
Absolutely, yes.
And then the inside.
Inside is the same. There's nothing.
No, meaning like the inside. Where are we holding with the inside?
We have electricity.
The structure, the inside structure. How are we holding with the inside structure?
Inside we have the electricity. We are waiting for the AC and the heating to be done, to be finished. Half of it plumbing is done, yes, half of it. But we had to wait for the water and the fire sprinkler line to come in. So this was done just last week. So we're going to continue with that.
Yeah, well, I mean, the problem is everything gets, I mean, if the I don't know what's going to happen with the facade. If they don't have the material. So now you can actually work full force inside.
Correct.
And the outside is going to come to us again.
Again for the approval, yes.
I mean, we have granted extensions because of COVID, and unfortunately, it's becoming now that the pandemic is over, the construction and all these works that are being delayed is becoming a different pandemic. this board has granted waivers to the applicants when they have a certain amount left. Now, we would like, and I know that, I don't know how many times we have done, this is right, so we haven't. So I'd like to just get at least a verbal guarantee that you can say that if this extension is given, you can finish within the next 7 to 8 months.
Yes, we could. We will give you that guarantee, yes. God willing, absolutely, yes.
God willing. You have.
I'm sorry, Dr. Brown, let me explain to you. I mean, the way we planned this whole project, it's supposed to be finished last year. And as you know, because of the COVID, whatever it is, anything that we do, things that used to take 2 to 3 weeks, now it's taking 3 months.
I agree with you.
Listen, it's not really, it's not really in our hands.
You're not the first
Right.
applicant with this
Right,
problem.
and especially this is a synagogue. The code for the synagogue is much higher, and everything is much more expensive than regular. It's not
I hear you, and that's
so
what
that's
I
why
said.
it's going to take time.
So what I mentioned was the same thing. We have granted extensions to almost everyone who has come in front of us, homeowners, buildings, and I think now the temple. I can't fight COVID. I mean, we did fight COVID in the hospitals, and but now the aftermath of COVID is almost as bad for the constructions. I do feel bad for people who are going through this. I think it's costing you guys a lot more because of the delays. I do want you to do your best to finish. I think everyone else is, and I think if you can guarantee, 7 to 8 months to be completely done, I would recommend to the board if they can waive the fees.
We
upon
appreciate
this
that.
7 to 8 months.
Is the majority of the work done? Would you say 60% of the work is done?
Absolutely, yes.
We'll be able to finish it in time.
Any Bart, Steve? Okay.
Is there a motion to approve? Moved by trustee Hope, seconded by trustee Kashi. And any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you so
Good
much.
luck.
And
We appreciate
how long
it.
is the extension?
7 to 8 months. Let's say 8 months.
8
8
months.
8 months.
From the expiration date of the permit.
No, from now.
Or
From now,
today.
from today.
When's the permit expire? Last year.
No, last month.
Last month?
I believe so, yeah.
Well, they weren't finished.
All right. That brings us back to the appointment of additional election inspectors. Mr. Cohen?
Mayor, if the board recalls, we had one Democrat inspector as well as 2 other Republican inspectors. They were appointed about 2 meetings ago. And tonight, I would request that 3 additional Democrat inspectors as well as 1 Republican inspector should be appointed again. So we have 6 in total, given it will
3 and
be
3.
a contested election. Before I was planning to having only 4 inspectors. Now that it's a contested election, I would suggest to have 6. And then we should have at least 1 person on standby, so if it happened that somebody doesn't show up, we do have additional resources.
Right. The other question I had, I know that, okay, I guess I'll ask you that later.
Okay.
He's
Okay.
running for 1 spot.
Is there a motion to appoint the additional election inspectors as presented? Yes. It's moved by trustee Kashi and seconded by trustee Mendelson. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 It's unanimous, thank you. The next item is the discussion on towing and putting cars due to unpaid fines.
So I tell you, I had a discussion with Abraham today, and I thought that it's a horrible idea because the fiber of the village has been so that, we really don't want to be a police village and really do the right thing um, for our constituents and not really come heavy-handed. But at the same time, what? But then I had a discussion with him, and then I heard that there's a significant amount, over $500,000 of funds that has not, right, that has not really been collected, and people have no quorum not to pay. And they can park where they want, and they can do what they want, and unfortunately nothing happens. And even though I hate doing this, I like to entertain the idea and see what the board thinks. And also I wouldn't mind hearing from the public what their thoughts are on this. I don't think we're going to vote on it, but there are people who are owing to the village, $1,500 dollars or so, probably some
More
yeah,
than that sometimes.
sometimes more than that. And these pages
And
and
we send
pages and pages.
and we send multiple notices.
2,000, yeah, 2,000, yeah.
No, but they receive multiple notices, they
Right.
they just ignore it.
5 notices here.
Yes.
7.
Yeah.
It's just
So,
the number goes up, you'll
3,000.
see that you get the 12 notices to
So
one.
I think this is just, it becomes ridiculous, and the 12,
10. Oh my God.
so 200, what? That's
That was
total.
the total.
No, that's not total. That is total? No.
There's one person that's
40,
That's-
extremely above
someone has
everybody else.
44.
That's one person
One person,
has
yeah.
207 notices?
Someone owes $44,000?
Yep.
Wow.
I went through it with Dawn, the whole thing. Person owes that much money. And that's what,
How many cars do they have?
It's one plate.
one plate. Constantly.
Even if you take the car away, it's not going to pay for the $44,000 of fines.
What kind of a car is it?
Usually,
You go that, but
this is in addition to during COVID. If the board remembers, we had that amnesty program that we reduced everything to the original amount, and we extended it multiple times. A lot of people took advantage of it and they paid, but unfortunately,
how
many
much we
people.
collected in that time?
I believe 60, 70,000. Good amount of money we collected, but again,
But this is 500, almost 500,000.
Correct.
The problem I see with this is that people just comfortably
Ignore
violate
the
and not pay, just ignore it and just park wherever they want and get ticket and not pay it. So there's no consequences.
I was reading about the technology, and it seems that if you pay it by the credit card, then the boot is immediately released. What do you do with the boot then?
You have to return it.
You have to-
it has to be
Mostly we
returned.
return
I read the memo. It says it has to just be returned to the place of where we choose or where the company chooses, as well as Nassau County charges for releasing the boot. But I don't know if we could do that, or maybe we want to do that.
Can we suspend registration?
So a lot of these people know what to do. So after 2 years, they return the plates, and they just get the new plates.
Yeah, they do that with Easy Pass too, yeah.
So we can't do anything with that, and it takes about 2 to 3 years to even catch up with that plate number. So when they go to return it,
But how do we know what the new plate number is in order?
we do not.
So how we boot in the car?
So this person has 207 notices.
It's
is
probably
using
on the same plate.
Same plate, yeah.
They're not.
Same car, the same car.
Wow. Same time,
car,
same
open
plate.
number, yep. It's ticket, park.
And a lot of them are outside of they're coming from outside of the village. They're not village residents.
The one with the 207?
Well, I'm not sure about that one, but a lot of these cars coming from out of the
So
village.
somebody works.
The chutzpah.
Discussing with Dawn, the collective court clerk, she said that we have to have something as a deterrent. So number one, we have to pay the penalties, and number two is not to have repeat offenders, because they can just continue impunity, just like keep parking wherever they want, and there's no consequences. So what's the point of us giving tickets if they're not going to pay? I mean, majority of people do pay, but if we keep going like this, $500,000, the next 5 years is going to be $1 million.
Yeah, and then they're gonna come to court and ask for a reduction in the fines and the fees. I think once you boot them, that's it.
Yeah, the booth, they can't move their car, they can
So
nothing. They
I
will come
think,
back and pay.
right, so it's a, I like to, I like for it to simmer. I think we need to think about it. I think it's a jump, and I need to know, again, we need to come up with the way of doing it. Obviously, if you have one ticket or two tickets or three tickets, maybe, or after getting three notices, then you can be booted.
Once it's in judgment.
Right. So obviously, we don't have to let it to come 207. My God, that is just ridiculous.
I mean, I don't know what's wrong with just doing it once it's in judgment.
Right. Okay.
I mean,
Right. You can put it in judgment. But I think those are the things. Anybody in the public wants to opine on this?
Yeah, boot them.
Absolutely.
Hi.
I mean it.
Okay.
I agree.
Um, anyone else?
They're making a laughing stock of.
No, I
Absolutely.
listen. I hear you,
How
and
much
that's
do we pay the person that goes out to give the tickets?
right.
How much,
So,
how
right.
much do we pay?
Not
It
a
varies,
$500,000.
it varies
You're
It's a
right.
rhetorical question, but yes,
No.
they get paid.
Why bother paying someone to go out
No,
and give
listen.
tickets if you're not going to
Gene,
collect
there
them?
we are
She
connected.
gives out tickets to hundreds of people. It's not just that one person.
Yeah, right. There's so many people that are paying their tickets.
As they should do.
Right, and then some don't, and that's the discussion we have now.
So can the DMV suspend the person's license, or is it just a registration?
No, just the
Against the
registration.
license, yeah.
You can't suspend the license because you don't know who's driving, who's doing it.
Right.
The car, not the
A
person.
lot of city workers will do that because it's the part of cost of doing business, so.
Right.
And are these people that are working on construction or something that come here to do business, or you said they're not?
Maybe you know what? You're right. Some of them could be, and they can just say, we don't care. They just park wherever they want, and as long as they want, they get a couple of tickets. And there's right. So, listen. I think we should come up with if this is going to be added to the local law. It has to be a public hearing.
Resolution.
Yes, but you indicated before you don't want to take action tonight, but I
No.
can.
I'm just
Because we have
asking.
to put something together.
We have to
Right.
put something together, and it has to be a public hearing.
Yes,
and a
sir.
resolution. Right. Okay.
For it depending on the nature of exactly what you do, but basically, you're really just hiring a vendor to collect monies that are owed to the village. So in that sense, it's just a
The
contract.
booting part of it, does that have to be a resolution?
I'm going to have to take a look at what the county has done. I don't
Okay.
know right
Hey,
now.
that might be the last resort that you want to get to. Before to get to that, maybe you want to send the tickets of certain amounts to a collection. So we would sell it to a collection agency.
Don't we have that already?
We do not have that, no.
Not talking about amnesty again, just talking
No,
about.
the
No,
company in,
just a
the
collection.
company in Canada, aren't they doing?
They don't do that, no. Well, they do that, we never contracted with them. And it was not worth for the village to make a contract with them. The village was not getting the benefit enough. So maybe we first want to do sending it to collection agencies before you start doing
And
that.
then we lose a big chunk.
Yeah, if you have to
Yeah,
settle
you lose about
for 40
50%
cents
of
or 50
if
cents
they-
on
if
a
they able
dollar.
to collect the whole thing. Usually to collect about 25% on average.
But if you put that boot in the car, you might collect the whole thing.
Yep.
Might.
And
yeah.
I'd rather
So I
give
like the
them the
boot better.
25% or 50% break that they don't have to pay. So the owner of the car, I don't mind, if we put a boot on the car and the person comes and says, listen, I owe $44,000.
You're going to say keep the car.
Keep the car, exactly.
Keep the car. Or let's say you owe $1,000, and if you send it to collection, they probably the collection gets 500 and we get 500. I rather give the $500 off to the owner.
To the car owner, yeah.
Well, I rather do that because if we're not getting it, what do I care?
It's
if they
almost
get
like amnesty again. So you're saying actually it's not a letter to the owner saying if you
No.
like to come
If you
in-
boot the car, I'm saying maybe we shouldn't go through the collection because when you go through the collection, also there you damage their credit. Now you can say, screw them, they haven't
I
paid.
don't know why you're worried about that.
It says.
Because I think I'd like to take a more, I don't know. Listen, I know
Really aggressive.
you're right.
You're
Spend
going
money.
soft on crime here. I mean, come on.
I'm not being soft on crime. This is not crime. I mean, listen, I'm not being soft on crime. These are people who are not paying their tickets. They're not going around, stealing cars or shooting anyone. What is it?
I think that's a worse crime, but being a scofflaw is a.
I'm not saying that it's not, but you have to see. So there are two ways of doing it. if I go and give it to the to the collection agency, they collect a significant part, and I collect the other. So, if I put a boot on, I'm actually doing them a favor, and I collect more money.
You're teaching them a lesson.
But listen, you're right. But listen, there are two different ways of doing it. I can cut my nose despite my face, and I say, you don't pay. I'm going to send you to collection agency. You pay them 50% and pay me 50%. Or I say, you pay me 75% and I don't send you to collection agency. So which one?
Bargain with them. It's a law. You give them a
You
ticket.
don't. You're
If they
missing.
don't pay it,
Gene, you're missing the point. I have two options. Either or. Either we have to decide as a board to send the person to the collection agency, at which point we probably going
might
to
never
lose.
get the money.
Which at which point if we do get the money we have to lose 50% as a fee to the collection agency, or put a boot on the car. At which point the only way this guy can get the boot off is to pay us, and if we choose, we can give that guy a discount of let's say 25%, 25%, and we collect more money.
Like in New York City.
Whatever it is, I don't care in New York City. I'm just saying those are the options, and I think that's something that
Well,
we
you've
need to
got an
think about.
expert here. He's a lawyer in, right? Huh? Advise him.
Get a fee.
It's wasting your time giving tickets if you don't collect them.
Gene, we are collecting a significant majority. This is a significant minority of people who are not paying.
$500 million.
It's over how many years?
But this is over many years, and this is not everybody. So you have to realize that this is, even though the number is high, there are ways of doing it. As I said, listen, there are ways of doing it. You can go ahead and say, I'm going to punish you to the
Nip
max.
it in
I'm
the
going to
bud.
destroy your credit, and I'm going to
That's
collect.
their fault, not yours.
I guess I'm not being clear. If I
I think that we actually have to either form a committee of board members or discuss it in executive session, how we're gonna proceed on this, but we're not gonna form the policy tonight,
Right.
but
And
He
you know,
doesn't want to be the bad guy.
it's not a
no,
question of
that's
that.
not. You're
Because-
wrong.
because
I don't know. I thought I was being very clear.
there actually is a business sense to
Does
what
anybody
he's
else
saying.
understand me? I'm not
Because
being
somebody's
clear.
gonna come in here and they're gonna lawyer up, and they're gonna, and waste the court's time and waste everybody's time.
There are other things. You
so
just don't want to go
there
punish
might
them
be-
if it's
there
going to
might be
hurt
valid
you.
reasons for doing
You
that.
understand? I don't want I don't want us to lose because we're trying to punish somebody. You don't do that.
I'm in
You have to
favor
be
of the
smart
boot.
about it. I think I agree with Bart. I'm more inclined toward booting than sending people to collection.
They pay very quickly. once
Right.
they're booted.
Yeah, very quick.
I think booting is the right way. Collection may not be the right way. Even though you can hurt them more with collection.
Yeah, but it takes forever and then it.
No, collection takes forever. Booting doesn't take forever. If you put a boot on a car and the person needs his car, he has to
They
pay.
have 48 hours until it's towed.
Right.
That's what it says.
They might yell and scream in the beginning, but
Right, but I think booting is the right way to go.
Yeah.
The only thing is we need to find out after, when you decide to boot, after the judgment, I guess, right? Okay.
We send them a notice ahead of time.
Peter, if you don't mind coming up with some kind of a resolution so we can discuss it, based on what we discussed.
Okay,
today.
absolutely.
All right.
Okay, the next item is the minutes of May 17th meeting.
I'll move them.
It's moved by Deputy Mayor. Is there a second?
Second.
It's seconded by Trustee Hope. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 It's unanimous. The next item are two sets of abstract, one for the current fiscal year and one for the prior fiscal year.
With the prior one, I had asked you a couple of questions.
there was something on the abstract for Bowler Engineering, 14K. What was that?
That's for the new village hall. They're doing engineering work.
Okay, okay. Oh, there was, on one of the, when is the work being done for the, center medians? Because I saw the bill for the plants, but I didn't,
Started on,
where did they start?
they started soil.
No, the soil is in.
No, the
soil
soil
is
is
in.
there, but I'm talking about the plants. I saw that the plants were ordered, so when will they be?
It should be very soon.
So-
I spoke to him. You asked last time about getting some sort of a warranty for the plants, and they said when you go to like a warehouse,
Right,
like
they don't.
you buy in bulk, they do not guarantee their plants.
Okay, but
I
it was
did ask
ordered,
about
so, oh, okay, but it was
It's-
ordered, so,
It is, yes, it is ordered and it should be delivered very soon.
okay. It was something that the mayor ordered at one of the banners, and I noticed
It was a
the
bracket
tracks, yeah.
that, yes, it's a bracket that
So
it goes on the,
Yeah, no, I know where it goes,
on
but
the
will
pole.
the sales tax be refunded, or?
So it won't be because we were under time pressure to get
Oh,
it as
so-
soon as
okay.
possible, and it was ordered, so I believe there's a $60 or $59 tax on that.
Okay, there was something, touch spreader. There was, in one of the receipts I saw that it said that something was still not working. Touch spreader,
That could be something for DPW. I'm not sure
Yeah.
what the touch spreader is.
right.
That's a question I will
How
ask.
much are we talking about?
It was $802. But I mean,
I will
just-
reach out to
If it was still not
DPW.
working, that's why I
Yeah.
figured what.
Touch
Um,
spreader is called?
Yeah.
Yep,
touch spreader.
I will speak to him.
Oh, and also, I noticed there was something plumbing in the ladies' room that, you got a quote
So
for.
it stopped, yeah, it stopped working. Well, it's been an issue for a very long time.
Uh-huh.
So we called one plumber, they came to snake it. They said the pipes are so old, he's afraid if he snakes it, he's going to make a hole in it.
Really?
So he just charged the visitation.
Right.
Even though I didn't want to pay him, he's like,
Okay.
well, I came here, that's why.
Okay.
And then Steve called another plumber, so they fixed all 4 bathrooms. At least the water now goes down.
Oh, good, okay. That's good news. That was the
Another
first
reason
set.
we need a new village hall.
Yes, yes. I noticed, this is on the second set, a money counting machine?
Yes, that significantly has increased the productivity because before I was contemplating buying it for a long time. Basically we have to, Maria has to count it, and then either Sam has to count it or myself have to count it, and it takes like 3 minutes to count it, and the
And you have
resident
to
gets
count it
agitated.
again, yeah.
Why we have to count it twice? Like this, you just put it in the machine, it counts within 3 seconds, and then we just double count it right there.
That many people pay in cash?
We have collected significant amount of cash this year.
Wow.
Significant amount of cash.
Okay. Okay, I missed the plans. Oh,
If they make it tax deductible again, that'll stop.
Could be. It's still worth the $500 for that machine.
I'm all for it.
So, municipy is being used?
Unicity, yeah, we never stopped using it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, and Quadriant leasing, what is that?
That's our mailing machine. I believe it's our mail machine.
Oh, postal rental?
Yes,
Oh,
that's
okay.
the mail machine that we use. That we have a lease that we use. We get like a few cents off on every piece of mail that we mail out. But the machine itself that weighs it and stamps it, we have to lease that machine.
And last thing, there was some power strip issue with the door being locked upstairs? And
Yes, we had an issue. So we have the key fobs that we use. You have one as well. Some of the doors did not open, so we had to call the company to come. And every time that he comes and checks it, there's a $250 visitation that he charges. At least this time he did not have to change anything, so he just have to fix something minute.
Oh, so it was just the power strip issue?
Yeah.
So, okay. All right, I make a motion to accept the abstract.
It's moved, seconded by Trustee Hope. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous. I just wanted to mention that Nassau County election for early voting will be starting on June 18th. The flyers are outside as well as on the door right here. Village election will be 2 weeks from now. The polls will be open from 7 in the morning till 9 at night. Absentee ballots are they mailed it to me this afternoon. If anybody cannot attend to be voting in person, they can stop by from 8:30 to 4:30 and 8:30 to 3 o'clock on Fridays. We'll issue them a absentee ballot upon giving us a application. Applications are available as well online. You could print it and you could bring it in. We do not accept it through fax or email. It has to be the original signatures. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call the Village Hall. We're here to help. Thank you. Public comment?
Yes, all the way in the back. Karen? Hi, Karen. How are you?
Very well, thank you. I just want to point out a couple, I don't know.
I know we know your name. Just say it for
Oh,
the.
sorry, Karen Bardash, 119 Maple Street. Great Neck, 11023. The other day, I actually took a walk from my house on Maple Street up to the Village Hall, 4 o'clock. It was blaring sun because we have no trees left. But my concern is a lot of the sidewalks now are not passable because the hedges and bushes and personal gardens are impinging on sidewalks. So, you know, I'm walking with my husband, and one of us is always in the street. I know because I have a garden, you know, there is maintenance that has to be done, and hedges grow quickly, and it gets to a point that they grow so much, then people are hesitant to cut them back because then they just end up to be very woody. Now, you know, I'm a very good letter writer. I would not, you know, I'd be happy to write a letter for you to, you know, send out to people just so they're aware about how they need to maintain their gardens and their
I
properties.
think we did that a couple of years ago, and people cut back
Yeah.
because there are. I think we have the code enforcers. They need to really tell them because
Right.
we did have.
They've been going out, hitting certain areas.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be punitive. I don't want to, like, you know, have somebody get, you know, a summons or anything.
No, I think that's
It's
what
just
we
more
did before.
informational.
Just talk about it to them. Notice of violation.
Yeah, but I mean, just like a nice, you know,
It's
if you
a
have a
notice
note.
of violation.
Yeah.
It just tells the resident
To just fix
that
it.
the condition is in violation.
If you notice something, just let us know.
Okay.
We
And
spoke about it today, actually.
Oh, you did?
With,
Okay.
with
Yeah, 'cause there's
Abraham and
so-
Tim spoke about a few areas, few houses, that the bushes come, like, of
Totally.
myself, I walk on Steamboat and I have to go around
Oh,
into
yeah.
the street and walk back on the sidewalk, so we
Right.
spoke about it today, and yeah, we'll do it.
we'll issue a notice of violation, so once
Okay.
they see that they are in violation of the village code, they usually take care of it.
Okay, and another thing for garbage, the seating area by Everfresh is disgusting as always, really bad. And I don't know if it belongs to the village, if it belongs to Everfresh, but somebody needs to clean it up a couple of times a day, and at the end of the day as well. The trash is left overnight. And my concern is when that new nice apartment building next to Marine Fisheries comes up, in their perspective, they have a nice, you know, like little tables there, that area will become a seating area as well, which would be nice, but.
So any garbage that that building generates will be the responsibility of that building.
Right.
To dispose of. The seating area by Everfresh's responsibility to clean up, but the garbage cans are the village's.
Right.
So when they overflow, it's actually, I didn't believe,
Right.
the village responsibility.
Right, can we
I've
send
seen- I've
somebody
passed-
every
I've
day?
passed by it many times. The problem is many times people.
It fills
come
up
in,
very
eat,
quickly.
But
and
there's
they-
also
they
trash
don't-
on the ground. I mean,
They
let's
don't
be
even
real.
pick up the trash.
It's the kids.
No.
They just eat.
They
and
leave
just
it on a
eat.
table, it blows off.
Right.
They fill the trash can, it doesn't fit in, they just push
Right.
it, and then it blows,
Right.
comes down. So-
Maybe another trash can will help.
Maybe another
Well,
trash
there
can
are
will
three
help.
trash cans there.
Yeah, no, they fill up
They fill up really quick.
You can put three trash cans,
10:30
three trash
to-
cans will fill up.
No. So there are three trash cans. But okay.
And if
The
you-
good news is, it's being used and people like it.
Well, the bad news is it looks really disgusting.
We know that.
And also, I mentioned at least 6 months ago that between, I think it was Fairview, all the way down to the post office, there are no garbage cans. And there's a seating place right at the, you know, the parking lot on Beach Road next to the Great Neck Music Conservatory, and people do sit there and they do drink, and they leave beverage bottles on the ground, and they leave beverage bottles in the flower beds. And the other day I saw our sanitation workers like literally picking things out of the flower beds. So I would like to see that we can have some more garbage receptacles placed along Middle Neck Road.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's a problem in the village green as well. The same individuals drink. And
Right.
they leave their bottles in the flower beds when there are plenty of trash receptacles. They fill those up too. In the morning, it sounds like a recycling yard when the park district cleans up that park. we have a problem.
Yes, we do.
We
The
have a
question
problem,
is,
and
Peter,
it's not going away.
I had this issue, I think, people drinking at night and urinating on the sidewalks. I know that the place that they buy the beer from is open till very late.
There are 3 bodegas now.
Right. The
3
question
stores
is,
are selling beer across
is
from
there
the
a
front.
way that you can
You can,
penalize the
The liquor license is gonna come up soon, right?
no, it's a,
no, they don't need a liquor license.
For the
they
beer.
sell beer,
They sell
Oh,
beer.
not for beer.
but they're not responsible for people littering
I know, but the
and
thing is, that has
urinating.
something gotta give.
There were cases some years ago where a municipality tried to hold stores liable for the trash being left on the ground outside the stores. Although you can require the store to clean it up, they said you really couldn't hold them responsible for what the patrons did after they left the premises. And I would see a similar analogy here. It's not quite the same as, for example, the host laws where if the bar overserves you or something like that. Here, you can have a law against urinating on the sidewalk, but I don't think you can hold the store owner liable when someone ignores that law and urinates on the sidewalk.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say it isn't just one individual. I mean, there's Dunkin' Donuts, iced coffee things there as well. So, I mean, if we could have a couple of garbage cans, it just would maybe benefit us.
I have a new Coca-Cola paper cup in front of my house every single day now.
Right. Because the
I think
kids
it's coming-
also.
It's coming from Mangiaveni.
Yeah, because the kids come and they walk and
I think it's the same individual buying his Coke and throwing it down on the ground at the same spot
must love you.
every day.
Gene,
Okay.
Jim, before you start, is there anything about public intoxication that we can enforce through Nassau County Police Department?
it's already being enforced partially.
Yeah, but they're not really enforcing it.
No, they don't go away. In other words, they're not arresting people for that. And then
And if they do, they get released.
they get released right away.
That's all the issue with Rob. He keeps coming back and there's more complaints about it, more complaints, and he goes.
He's not the only one.
No, he's not the only one,
Yeah.
he's the main guy.
I saw John is an elderly guy who takes care of the village green, and I saw him being verbally abused, and I thought I was actually afraid for him last week.
Talk to Nassau County Police.
Okay, Gene.
And it wasn't Rob, it was somebody else.
It wasn't Rob.
Okay, Jean Pierce, 44 Arundel Avenue. Trustee Sobel, that answer of it won't go away, you have to make it go away. In Queens, if a store owner, if there's garbage outside, it doesn't matter whether it's his or not, if it blows from next door to his property, they get a summons. And I know, let me finish. And I know that for a fact. We have a resident in our village that owns a store, and he gets summonses. In his home, he's not responsible for who put the garbage there, but the garbage is there, it's his property, and he has to have it cleaned up. So
I don't
That-
disagree with you.
answer.
I don't disagree with you, but I think we're talking about two different things.
No, you just sort of say, well, this is how it's, we've got bad drivers, what can we do?
No, Gene, that's not.
We got garbage.
You're taking me out of context, aren't you?
I don't think so.
I believe you are. Karen was talking about how these individuals are drinking throughout the night and leaving their bottles in the flower beds, etc.
She was talking about Everfresh. No,
Wherever that, whenever, so if it's not at night, the individuals are drinking and leaving their bottles in the flower beds. Those flower beds belong to the village. So, when I said it's not gonna
All
stop,
right.
it's been going on since I lived here.
let's say Everfresh. It's up to the store owner to go out and clean outside his property.
Correct.
Just like the rabbi that
Correct.
was here, just let me finish. Just like the rabbi that was here about wanting an extension, we've looked at his garbage for 7 years. And it took all my patience to sit there and not say anything to him. Because for 7 years, he's made our little area, our block, look like garbage, and it's never cleaned up. And I'd like you to put that in one of his, whatever his extension is, that he has to get that property cleaned up. But let's forget that. Now, the village fair that we're going to have this weekend on Sunday,
Saturday and Sunday.
well, the actual craft fair is only on Sunday, not
Yeah.
Saturday.
and Sunday.
So your music festival's on Saturday night
And Sunday.
and Sunday. Where have we advertised? I've seen nothing in the store windows to advertise.
It's actually being advertised. It's everywhere. There are lawn signs. We're doing this in conjunction with Destination Great Neck with their Gatsby Fest. And so when you see the signs that say Gatsby Fest and Destination Great Neck, it also says 100th birthday of the village of Great Neck. We're together with them. Those signs are everywhere. We're getting a big banner by the train station. One will probably be going up over Middle Neck Road in the next day or two.
Okay.
But they're on lawn signs by the park.
And it will
there's actually
also-
a sign up over by Clover Drive, I believe.
It'll also advertise the craft fair, correct?
Yeah, and it's also in the newspapers.
Oh, because it wasn't in last week's Great Neck News.
It was supposed to be.
It wasn't.
It's in the record for sure.
But Great Neck News is our newspaper.
Yeah, it's also, I know you don't look at it, but it's all over social media.
No,
I know
don't
you
do
don't look
social
at it, but
media.
that reaches a lot more people than Great Neck News and Great Neck Record combined times 10. So,
Okay.
so-
Okay, as long as it's going to be advertised,
Yes.
because it is this weekend. Now, the back of, it's not Raindew, or Hicks Lane, on the corner. Why do we have to look at a porta toilet for over 2 years, and it's still there? Why is it still there?
Construction?
No, there's no construction. It belongs to where the temple is, the back of the temple. The tent's
Oh,
still...
the building next to it.
Yeah, the tent's still up in the back. And that
They're
porta
still doing
toilet, as
They're
you
still
come
doing
up...
construction. It's still not finished construction, that building. The interior building is being under construction.
That porta potty doesn't belong to the temple, it belongs to the building under
To the building,
construction.
yeah, not to the temple.
So it's going to stay there for longer.
As long as
It's
they have
gonna stay
workers
there
there, yeah.
until they finish construction.
Okay. Let's see. The landscaping. Trustee Mendelson mentioned about the landscaping.
They said they're going to start this week. They just purchased the,
No, the soil was already put down.
I know that's been put down on
Yes, we
top
have
of
to
all the
also realize
garbage.
even the nurseries do not have.
No, they
everything
do apparently. They've got 700.
So they got and they're going to put in when they have. They didn't get it when they thought they were going to get it, so everything is delayed. So I'm
Well-
not going to even question anymore because, you know,
Well, I'm just going to let you know what they're going to start. Hopefully, they said on Thursday.
I know.
Hopefully, the weather. So you do know. So they
I
are
know, but
going.
no, you're
So they've
asking-
got them.
Yeah,
So
but
they must
didn't
have them if you know.
When did they get them?
They have them now.
Okay,
But
they
they're
didn't have
just
them
wait.
last week.
Apparently, they're waiting for a check.
Okay.
So hopefully, they get the check and then they'll be putting them
We
in.
never had problem giving anybody a check when they ask for it.
Okay. So they get a check tomorrow, so they can start on Thursday.
I hope so, yeah. I mean, I think that's the plan.
Gene,
not
what's
the
the
one
question?
doing the ordering.
Gene, move on. You know,
I
it's 10
saw,
o'clock.
I saw the order, that's why I mentioned it, because it was in the abstract. So that's why I asked.
And
But-
can we ask how much all these 700 trees and plants are going to be cost?
We discussed it before. I don't have it in front of me.
You don't have it in front of
No.
you?
You-
But I asked 2 weeks ago.
Maybe I think it was 30. It was about 30 something thousand.
For the actual plants and
Yes.
trees,
Mhm.
about 30,000.
No, that's with everything.
That's
With the
no.
soil, that was with the mulch.
No, the 35 was the 35,000 was the
The
labor.
labor.
35 was the rest. Right.
So say about 70,000, right?
Total.
Okay. Okay. I think I'll let you go at this right now.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah. Okay, so
No, it doesn't have fun. Anyone else has
no,
a question?
I'm not. Oh yeah, one last thing though. Remember I asked you about if you could put a flash in on that stop sign on Wood Road and Arundel Avenue? It was
Flash?
nearly,
Okay.
yeah, to flash, to try and make them stop, not go over the white line. Just in this past week, 3 real near. One of them was my husband. In fact, he went to the police station and gave them the number of the car that did it, went through that stop sign. Before something really bad happens, you have to do something with Wood Road and Arundel. They're coming out of there like
There's no stop
nuts.
sign, or there's stop sign?
There's a stop sign. She wants a flashing stop sign.
It
On
might
Arundel or
help,
on Wood?
I don't know.
On Arundel or on Wood?
On Wood Road,
Wood.
coming into Arundel.
It's going south.
They cut from Steamboat Road. It's a cut-off now because of all the temples, etc. I've lived there for
Everything's the
50
temple's
years.
fault.
It's got so busy.
All right, well, jeez.
What
Okay,
time of
Jean.
day was it?
Well,
What time of
it's
day?
usually,
No, what time of day did this happen?
it gets real bad around.
No, I'm asking.
What time was it that
of
your
day?
husband got hit almost? What time was it?
It was the afternoon. Wait a minute, which day? The holiday was on Monday, Sunday, so it was Sunday.
Okay, so
Even then it was
okay,
bad.
so most people don't drive cars on didn't drive cars on Sunday. So you know what, Jean, you've done this multiple times, and I'm warning you.
Excuse
I'm
me?
warning you. This is really bordering hate speech at this time.
Oh, no,
Okay,
no,
so I'm
no.
just letting
no,
you know.
No.
Sunday, most people don't drive. You can't just go ahead and blatantly.
We
No,
was
even
going
Sunday
up
was
to
Shavuot.
Stephenstone.
Listen, you are blatant. Everything you say, you blame the temples. It's not right, Gene.
No,
You're creating
you didn't
division. This is
listen.
not the first time you're
I
doing it.
said it's got
You're not the first
extremely
time.
busy.
This is not the first time you're doing it. And I'm asking you to please stop blaming temples every time. I know how you feel, but it's not right. It's not right. You can do what you want to do, but I'm asking you, this is not the way you behave.
Then
Not
how
in this.
do I explain it to you?
Why
How
do you
would
have to?
like me
Just say
explain
that
it?
there are.
It's just that because
Why
of...
are you surmising who the car is being driven by?
No, I didn't say that. I said because
All right,
of
you know,
all the
I've heard
building
enough.
on Steamboat
I've heard
Road.
enough. Thank you. You can have a seat. You can have a seat. David,
Oh, well.
you can have a seat.
See how that goes.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to learn how to respect others. And this is not the first time. This is not the first time. You've done it before.
Well, what
And
would you
this is
like
not
me
what's
to
going to.
say?
You don't have to bring the temples in the middle.
I said, well, what's on Steamboat Road? Because of the building, there's so much
There's so many
building.
things on
It's
Steamboat
become
Road.
very busy.
This is not the first time you're doing it. Last time you did the same thing. You bring people that are walking with black coats. Come on, enough already.
No, we don't want
David,
people
enough,
walking in the
enough,
streets, just-
enough.
Okay.
David.
Thank you. David Lenziger, 15 Beach Road. I have a couple of questions. My old one for our clerk treasurer, is the Moody's thing finally settled? Okay, so let us know when it... Okay. Okay, thank you. I'll keep asking about it. Another question is the village still interested in selling this property? And if so, have any negotiations been held with any entity about buying it? You had previously had a discussion with the school district.
I haven't had any discussions with anyone else. It's still, as I mentioned, I believe they're the ones who benefit the most from the village hall, this village hall. We are far from finishing our village hall, so to have more discussions is really a moot point at this time.
Has the village, you had mentioned that the village would obtain an appraisal of this property. Has that been sought and has that?
When we're ready to sell, I mean, if I do any appraisal today, and we're not going to sell for another year, then I have to do another appraisal then. So I'm just going to wait when we're closer, then at that time we'll do it.
Okay. And speaking of timing, I've asked before about groundbreaking. I met Mr. Yakubellis, the principal architect at some other thing, and I asked, he said, oh, we're still working on that.
Right, so we had
Is
bunch
there
of-
any idea when you might be able to begin?
So we had a bunch of meetings about details of the project outside and inside, and I think we had about 3 meetings so far outside of Village Hall. I spoke to Mark Stumer, and he believes that he's going to have the final or close to final plan within the next couple of weeks. So after that, hopefully we can start getting more numbers and come up with more realistic numbers to put it for a bid.
Okay, because I mean, I hope we move on this. 'Cause
Believe me, I do
this
also.
building is not suited for the 21st
Yes,
century.
I agree with you on that one.
Thank you.
Okay. Next, anyone else? Okay. All right, if you don't have any more comments,
Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move.
Moved, seconded, all in favor say aye. Unanimously, the ayes have it.
Everybody come out this weekend